Okay, okay, we're on. I'm super excited and grateful that you are here on this interview call. And Elisa, for those who don't know you, but I guess everybody knows you on the call, but still.
No.
So Elisa is a diamond director. She's an amazing leader, so inspiring. I've watched you like grow this amazing team. And I'm also grateful to be on the IDC with you. So we get to spend a little bit of time together. That's
We're
amazing.
going to be in LA together next month, right?
Yes, yes,
I'm
for a meeting.
excited for that.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing. So let's start right away. I don't want to say too much about you because I'd like you to share your USANA story, your background, where you're coming from, how did that happen?
Sure. Okay, great. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm so honored. You know how I feel about you, Natalie. You are such a divine soul and a real gift to all of us here at the USANA family, GCI family. You've been such a beautiful example for us. Thank you,
Thank you.
Natalie, for your grace and your leadership and your heart. You've been a gift. Thank you. So yeah, thanks for having me. I love these interview series that we're doing. It's the last Monday of every month, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it
Basically.
can change, but it's once a month.
Okay, great. Well, I'm grateful to be on tonight, and some of you may know me, some of you may not. My journey with USANA has been amazing. It's been 7 years. And funny enough, when I started this business, it was more of a part-time thing because I was working full-time as a dental hygienist, and I was a new mom. I had my first child, and Brandon was 1 year old, and I was wrapping up mat leave, and I was just really struggling with my own health issues, feeling burnt out, feeling unfulfilled, a lot of things that just seemed like, this can't be what life's all about. There's got to be more. There's got to be better, right?
Mm.
So I started to reach out to people, and then there was a really cool connection that kind of happened through my hairstylist and then her sponsor at the time who knew one of the girls in GCI. And the ripple effect of that was really interesting because my sponsor dropped out. I would say I was only like a couple weeks in the business. And I was just completing remember back in the day, Nat, when we had e-apprentice?
Yeah.
Yeah. So finishing my training, and I remember her calling me and saying that she was dropping out. And I was like, what? You can't drop out? Anyways, long story short, I ended up sponsorless. But we have a great community here. And what seemed to be such a downfall was such an amazing hidden gem, hidden gift. So, as an entrepreneur now that I look back, it's funny how you can really see how through the process and through the journey, everything happens as it exactly needs to happen. Like there is no why is it going this way? It's not working. It's actually perfectly divine in the plan of what is needed to happen for your growth, for your journey. So yeah, it's been 7 years, and yeah, like Natalie said, I'm a diamond director. When I first started, my vision was really just to have a little bit more freedom in my life, which came back to choices, having the freedom to make choices that were important to me and my family. As I got clear on my value system and the things that really meant a lot to me, such as, being able to make decisions and feeling empowered in my health, feeling empowered in my choices and my finances and the quality of my life. I knew that this would be the perfect vehicle. So that was sort of my vision. And I know in the beginning it was, just how can I cause an impact within just my local, even my family, my local community, or just, I wasn't thinking global, that's for sure. But over the years, it's amazing to watch how your vision and your impact really shifts and can become so much greater than you've ever imagined. So it's been an amazing journey. And yeah, who knows? There's a lot more, I'm sure, to come for all of us, right, Nat?
For sure, for sure. Your story is amazing. And so you said your sponsor dropped out.
Yeah, Marina dropped out. Yeah.
And that's important because
And so did her sponsor. Like they both dropped out.
so you
Yeah.
were alone.
Yeah.
and still you're a diamond director. So you reached out to,
Yeah, I think one
how
of the
did
things
that
we
work?
need to understand, especially when we first join a business like this, right, Nat, is a lot of us, I'm not speaking for everyone, but a lot of us come from the employee world,
Yeah.
or the just traditional jobs or traditional self-employment. And it's definitely a different mindset, right, when you step into entrepreneurship on this level. And be mindful of that, because a lot of us come into this arena and still are bringing the same thinking patterns, right? And the same mindset and beliefs that we've been conditioned or just programmed for the last so many years of our lives. And we're trying to, step into a new arena and apply the same thought process or mindset, which just doesn't serve you best at all. So, what I realized was, regardless of if my, direct sponsor was in or not, it was my business and I needed to own that. And I made a decision that day. I was like, well, I'm in and I'm decided. And you know what, at the end of the day, it's my responsibility. It's my life. And I'm so glad I made that decision. It's been the best decision I made for me and my family and for the people I care about, right? So
That's so inspiring.
aw, thanks.
Yeah, it is. You have an amazing story. And well, it's been 7 years. You're a diamond director. Obviously, not everybody has a roadmap like that. Like, as you know, for me, it's been longer. So that's okay. And people sometimes, when they look at someone like you, who's now diamond director in 7 years, they might think, oh, it might have been easy for her. And, like, is there, would you be like open to share like a challenge, or what has been the most challenging for you through your
Sure.
journey?
Sure. Well, it's funny. Today, I shared a picture and a post exactly on that. It was an iceberg that had just on the tip of the iceberg, which was out of the water, right? That said success, and below the water, which the iceberg is so much bigger below the water, right? Were all the things that most people who are looking to create success are going to have to go through and embrace and have a whole new love affair with, And I
Mm-hmm.
say a love affair because my question was, for many people, maybe ask yourself tonight this question as you are here with us, how do you define failure? What's your relationship with failure look like? Is it a negative relationship or is it a positive? For me, I really look at failure as something I appreciate and I respect, because I know that is part of my recipe with regards to creating success. As John Maxwell says, you only fail forward. So it's like redefining that. And then also, when it comes to the commitment and the discipline and dedication and perseverance, we all have doubt, right, Nat? We all go through that. We all have
Yep.
rejection. I think I've redefined rejection for sure, and maybe we can do that together tonight, Nat. But it's something that I think we all have to be just really clear on as we grow. And I don't say go, but grow through the journey, right? So, yeah, I've had tons of challenges. Oh my goodness, year after year, I went gold in my first year and it happened quickly. And I solidified for a full year after that. And then, from there, I took a rank advancement every year. And every single year, and still till today, no matter what, my teacher would get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I would take a rank advance, or every time I would take some sort of a level growth in my leadership, there was some sort of massive teacher that would show up, and it was massive sometimes. And I'd be like, what now, And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to embrace this one, because I knew just around the corner from that would be so much greatness and so much abundance. And not just on the title or income. I'm talking about on the spiritual level. I'm talking about on the mindset level. I'm talking about in life, period, right? So, oh my goodness, where do I start with the challenges? Not they're still happening, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's part of the way it's like you're in a big classroom. That's what life is, and if we could take every experience and show up that way, like a true student, and realize that it's exactly what we need for the next step in our evolution, I think we would be much more just joyful and much more just happier as we go through the process, right?
And it's not really important what are the challenges. We have challenges through the journey, but what you just said, how to treat it though is totally like, and you're right, every leadership level, there's something always like, but once you embrace it and go through it, you get out of it so much more.
For sure.
For me, I remember, sorry. Yeah, exactly. So for me, I remember my Ruby level was really about asking help. I wasn't, that's specifically what I had to work. Yeah. And that's why we call it leadership level, right?
Yes,
exactly. Sure. Yeah.
I think actually it's funny, Ruby to Emerald was one of my most challenging teachers for growth.
Really?
And probably focus. Yeah, just getting really good with focus. Because I had certain sort of obstacles and challenges that had arisen, which had created quite a bit of drama energy. And I remember how I could get sucked into that, and it really required me to develop my focus muscle. Tony Robbins, he has that amazing quote. We just shared it the other day. He's like, where focus goes, energy flows, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't take the time to really focus on what matters, you're not really creating your life. You're not really in the driver's seat of designing your life, right? So focus was something I really had to get good at. And over the years, it's definitely been a muscle I've developed.
Love it. Thank you. Can you share, I'm sure a lot of people want to hear that, what your days, how does that look like, your daily method of operation? You're a mom, you have this business, you're busy, obviously. So can you share a bit of your DMO with us?
Yeah, for most people who know me, I like to keep things very simple. That's just who I am. I actually think some people probably look at my business and think, wow, there's nothing really much special about it, it's so simple. And I still stick to the basics, Nat. Like I always find it's the basics that really you need to master anyways that are going to end up growing your business. So for me, my DMO is very intentional, which means I'm prioritizing my energy in areas that are going to help me get a bigger return. So, the basics are always your invite and your sending out your invites, doing your prospecting and following up, and then coaching, right? Although what I find a lot of times is most people, especially coming into the business in the beginning, and if you're doing this part-time, we may not have like a really clear sort of protected, prioritized business schedule. So what do I mean by that is if you look at your calendar right now, do you actually have a protected window and like a time slot that you've reserved and dedicated to doing your invitations, like to doing your invites? And one thing I find is if you don't, you're likely not doing them because it's so easy in the world we live in to get distracted. It's so easy because there's so much competing for our attention. And something as simple as social media, like I know even for myself, you could jump on there and end up, I don't know, just totally down a million different wormholes. And you're like, what just happened here? I don't know how I ended up from here to here. But my DMO is pretty basic. That's pretty much it. I have days that I am committed to other things in my life. So like actually Mondays, the whole day I kind of reserve for family time. And then I'm in action by the time kids are in bed. Like we do our team webinars on Monday as well. So this is part of that. And then I'm really consistent in my week. Very consistent. So whether it's, making sure I have so many presentations and invites done, I make sure that I'm consistent with those numbers. So for you, if you're doing this part-time, depending on if you're part-time or full-time, I would get really clear on what those numbers look like first, and then decide on where you're going to protect time and, commit that window to prioritizing your energy in areas that are going to help you build action and revenue in your business, so that you can pick some momentum up and then work towards your bigger goals, of course, right?
Yeah, I like simple. I'm the same way.
Simple, yeah. Simple.
Oh, yeah.
When you get too fancy and things get, overwhelming, I think for most people that's hard to duplicate, first off.
Yes.
And, already I know people who are starting this business are busy. So the whole point is, we want to shift out of living just busy and being intentional. I think that's a word I prefer to use. So I'm not busy, I'm intentional. That's what I like to say, So
I love it.
we all have the same amount of hours in the day, and at the end of the day, it's just busy for me is like giving your power away. It's like saying, someone else's agenda is actually kind of dragging you around for your day.
Yeah, that's so true. Love this. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure I know we have a few new associates on the call.
Yeah.
What would be one of your super tip for a new associate? Someone just beginning the business.
Say that again, Nat. What would be
one of the tips you would have for a brand new associate?
A brand new associate?
Someone starting. I know there's a few on the call. So is there something in particular you'd like to share with them?
There's a couple things. I think first off, it's just, the mindset piece. So as a new associate, if you're coming from an entrepreneurial background, it might be a little different in the sense that if you're coming from an employee background, right? So first, let's determine, where is your journey from prior to this? Like, where are you coming from? Because it doesn't matter what our past is, where we're going, but at the end of the day, there's quite a bit of reprogramming that needs to happen, right? So why I like that is at least we know we're mindful of our thinking patterns and how we get tripped up in the beginning, and it's a conscious process, right? So when we're conscious of old programming and thought processes, coming from an employee background myself, and there was times I was self-employed or an employee, I knew coming into entrepreneurship required a whole different level of thinking. So it meant I had to be very committed to my personal development and action. There's no point. So one thing I find, some people just dive into personal development and they do all kinds of audios and books and leadership training, but until you put it into action, it doesn't matter. It won't even apply. You're not growing true muscle because it just stays here and then it doesn't actually come into fruition, right? So my focus with new partners is let's get into action ASAP. And by doing that, it actually helps us work on all of the areas, our beliefs, our posture, our confidence, and applying everything we're learning, right? So definitely being conscious of that. So I like having that talk with my new partners, just kind of reminding them, it's almost like educating their expectations a little bit too, right, Nat? Like, I know a lot of people are going to go through the emotional roller coaster, the entrepreneurial roller coaster, and that's why I like having that talk. And then it's kind of setting a good ground for us to be able to feel we're open enough to say, hey, let's have that talk. Let's be able to, when we're in that moment, when we're in the funk or in the trenches, let's talk about it. Let's go there. Because again, totally different state of thinking and a ton of different programming that needs to happen. And the other thing I think that's really powerful for new associates is I like to work through just empowering them and really getting them grounded in their beliefs. So we explore what that looks like. If you're stepping into entrepreneurship, if you're stepping into designing your life, you have to really be clear on your beliefs, because ultimately your beliefs are what drive you. And where I find people get stuck is not so much that they can't get partners or clients or get business rolling. It's due to the fact that whatever's happening outside in their world is directly linked back to their inner world, their belief systems, right? So one thing we do as an exercise is we actually go through that whole process together, and that helps you develop your values and your beliefs and your why, all of the above. So it gets you grounded, you know what I mean? Not like you feel like, okay, it's cool, no one's rejecting me, no one's, necessarily the reason I'm going through whatever I'm going through is just we share maybe a different belief system. So I need to get clear on what mine looks like first before I can actually get out there and feel empowered enough and maybe grounded enough to take on some of the emotional rides that we do have.
Sorry, my
So those are two things I like doing with new partners. Sorry if that was too much.
No.
Sorry, Nat.
No. I was just saying, I'm sorry, my dog is barking.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Now that was really interesting. And is there a book that you would, maybe that was one of your favorite book that helped you to switch that mindset from employee to?
Well, I really actually, Simon Sinek has some great stuff on that, like Start With Why. Maybe that's something you want to tap into. There's so many great people that, we have available that we provide to our new partners. The question though is like, sometimes I feel like as much as we dive into the books, which is great, we want to, I think actually working through it like in a mini exercise, like it shouldn't take more than 15, 20 minutes, but just kind of working through it with your new partner is an amazing experience for both of you. And maybe for some of you on tonight, maybe it starts with, first you doing it, because some of us haven't explored that, right? And I promise you, like once you get really clear on your values and your beliefs, especially your beliefs and how it links back to this business, you're going to feel so empowered and you're going to feel like this incredible, just vibrant energy ball that's just people are gravitating to because you are clear and it's just something amazing to do. So I highly recommend it.
Great. Love it. And would you have I guess it's going to turn around that, but still an associate that is thinking of rank advancing? We're hitting the last trimester, the last 3 months of the year to qualify for recognition at convention. I know some people are preparing some rank advancement or top PC enroller or whatever.
Yes.
Would you have and I know you've done that so many times, so would you have something to share about that?
For rank advancements? And
yes.
Well, first off, I think, when you decide to do a rank advancement, it really does start with making the decision. Like you just decide. I think for a lot of people, even in the business, there's still kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, if you know what I'm saying that. So first off, it comes with making a clear decision. It doesn't mean you have to be fully attached to the outcome, but I think it's making a decision that within every cell of your body that I'm committed and I'm going to do this in a sense, because once you're decided on that level, things start to happen. It's amazing. The next thing is it takes planning and strategizing, right? So if you're fairly new, you may want to sit down with your upline or your sponsor, someone who has a bit more experience, but really look at your business and decide on, okay, where am I at with my numbers? What does my 4-week cycle look like? What type of team activity do I have? Or do I want to maybe work with some key partners right now in my business? So strategizing and planning is such a big part of it. And I guess you could, when it comes to the planning and strategizing too, like depending on, the size of your organization, of course, and depending on how many business centers you have, there's so much you can do there right now. Like we could do a whole call on what the strategy would look like. But definitely prepping, planning, strategizing. If you're going to do a rank advancement, I think plugging in for leadership training, personal development, like really fueling and generating that amazing energy is critical. Again, rank advancements, it's like saying, I am going to sign up for intensive for the next week or 4 weeks. And it's also like saying, if there's any athletes on the call or martial artists, it's like, you're going for that next color belt. as a
Mhm.
martial artist, or you're taking it to that next level of competition in your athlete game. So it means you're going to give it your all, but it also is going to require a different level of performance. And that
Mhm.
different level of performance requires, again, like serious mindset. And your teachers are going to show up. It always happens, right? So I know for me, it's more of a mindset game during rank advancements, and I'm so prepared for that. Like I'm embracing that. So those are some of the areas I can touch on. Incentives are great. Running promotions are great. There's a lot you could do during your rank advance, but those are some of my top tips.
Yeah, yeah. But the first one you said, the decision,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
like once you decide, there's a big part that is done. And like you
Well,
said,
yeah. What about you, Nat? Like you've done so many amazing rank advancements. Did you recall when you decided to go Emerald?
oh
Like
yeah,
you felt like it was already done.
yeah, exactly. It's more than a decision. It's like it's done. Like
Done.
it's done. You're starting, but there's no doubt has to be there. You have to, already see yourself as it's done. And
Mhm.
to be honest, it has to be so strong that when you get the title, you're like, okay, I mean, I've been it for the
Yeah,
last,
yeah, yeah,
it's like
exactly.
nothing. So, it's more the journey that is fun than hitting the final date. Of course,
Yeah.
fun. We
You
have to
you had already
celebrate.
decided, right? And it was like it almost was already done. It was just a matter of you catching up physically now in time.
Exactly.
But everyone on the call tonight, like take a minute, guys, and think of a moment in your life that you made a decision that was so clear, that was so already done. Like you didn't
Mm,
know how, you didn't know what, you didn't even know any of the above. All you knew was that it was going to happen. There's a
mm,
moment, like all of us have moments like that, no matter what it is, whether it was school, whether it was finishing something that was important to you, whether it was moving to a new country, I don't know, whatever it was. Think of a moment like that and how it felt in your spirit, in your body, in your, in every part of you and your thoughts. So that's what, like, for me, like to rock a rank advancement, it's aligning all of that. It's like aligning your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings, all of the above, so that it can come to be.
mm. Well said. Amazing. And okay, our time is almost, oh my God,
So
it's
cool.
going so fast.
Yeah.
Last word of wisdom, anything you'd like to share before we end the call?
Well, I guess what I could say is that for me, I think the area that I've been able to really leverage, in a sense, to create success has been that well, it's not even leverage. I guess it's just an area where I feel strong, has always been that I get more excited about the process than the outcome.
Mm,
So I think if you really want to see this grow and and it's not just in your business, but I'm thinking like in life in general, I think that if we can fall in love with the process more than the outcome, like being more committed to what it takes, like the work that has to go into it, the vision and the mission, all the stuff that gets you really passionate with regards to the purpose attached to what you're doing, um, the rest will take care of itself. The outcome is
mm,
just a positive byproduct of that, So when I think of people who've done really well in entrepreneurship in our business and USANA, one thing I've seen about them and the traits they share is that they genuinely really care about people, and they're very passionate, they're very heart-centered, they're very committed to making a difference, to contributing. They think abundantly, they don't think in scarcity, and they just, for them, it's more important to leave a mark in a positive way than just a title or an outcome. And I think that means you are in love with the process more, and the journey more than just the final result of what's coming. Because
mm.
no matter what, once the title comes and the income comes, I think for most people who've gotten there, it was like that's not where they're finished. You know what I mean? They were never finished there. It was so much bigger than that. So fall in love with the process, fall in love with the journey, fall in love with the areas that you are currently struggling with. because the reason we are dealing with challenges and obstacles or struggles in our business is because that's the exact teacher or lesson we need to learn to fall in love with. And that's why they show up over and over again until we've been able to really embrace and understand and appreciate that. So it sounds so backwards and it sounds so like, how can that be? But it's been my biggest sort of piece of understanding over the years. We say year after year, this business is a compensation plan attached to a personal development program, right?
Yeah.
Like a mini PhD in life. So definitely, show up as a student. So whenever those challenges come your way, that's when you say, you know what, this is great. This is exactly what I need now to go to the next step. So when it shows up again, how am I going to respond? How am I going to shift? What part of growth or where am I evolving? So the next time, because it'll show up again, how am I going to respond? How am I going to evolve from this situation so I can graduate to the next grade or to the next level of leadership, right? So that would be my biggest tip. Another tip I can leave you guys with is have an awesome toolbox of like hacking your energy. Like, so for example, like everything's energy, right? Like if you're vibing in the wrong space, if you are feeling like you're in a funk, and again, Brandon Bouchard always says, we're not, we're like power plants. The power plant doesn't have energy, it has to generate it, right? So what do you do to generate? You may not always feel motivated. Sometimes it's easier to check out. Sometimes it's easier to do what's easier. I just know, I guarantee you that if we do what's easier later on, it will be much more difficult and the regrets are too big. So what I can say is have a great toolbox like of hacking and like strategic sort of ways to get you generating. Whether that's who you call, what you listen to, what you tap into, what you're going to do, if it's a workout, if it's physical, if it's music, if it's people, if it's an audio, whatever it is. Don't leave it to one thing. Just have an awesome sort of list of things that you can tap into to generate. Because entrepreneurs, successful people have an incredible strategy around how they stay on path and how they generate. So it's strategic, right? So yeah, that's another tip I would share.
So much wisdom in what you just said.
Tons of learning still to do, Nat. So it's just been my journey that I'm sharing.
Yeah, but it's so refreshing to to talk about those things and not like the do it of because I'm totally with you. It's the business. It's all about energy. It's all about the mindset. It's all about, and sometimes I find we don't talk about that enough. We're stuck in the little, so.
Well, and I mean, skills are important.
Yes, they are, of course.
But passion is way more valuable, and purpose, and like getting those things in alignment will actually rock your business way before mastering. Like you can get good at the skills, but if your belief system and you're not tapping into that sort of passion or energy, like I've seen people with horrible skills do so well. Like I'm like,
exactly.
Wow. You're like, what's going on there? And it's just because they're on the right vibe, their passions, they're lit up, there's a sense of urgency, there's a burning desire, and that's where the connection really happens. So ask yourself, who would you partner with? Would you partner with someone who's got no passion, or you can sense there's no burning desire? They might be good at delivering a presentation, but you might feel through even through their language and their posture, that what's missing is that desire, is that passion, is that true commitment. So, ask yourself who you'd want to align with, who you'd want to partner with. And then for me, that would be some of the things I'd want to work on for myself.
Amazing.
Yeah. Do you want to open up for questions? I don't know if we want to, or
I can just look at the comments quickly. There's no question. There's a lot of hello. We went up to 60 people, so that's amazing. I'm so glad that all the Game Changers family gathered together tonight. I don't see any question.
Okay, great. No questions, and I think we're good.
Thank you so much, Elisa. Oh,
I hope it was helpful.
oh, hold on. Someone is writing something. Oh, it's just thank you so much. It's thank you. I guess you
My
can
pleasure.
you can read the comments as
Mhm.
well. So thank you so much, Elisa.
Thank you. It's
It's
been
so
such a
amazing to
pleasure.
spend time with you.
I
I'm
know, you
so
too, my
excited
love. I
to
can't
see
wait
you
to be
soon.
in LA together. That's
Yeah.
gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Thank you. Your energy is amazing. It's
Oh, my pleasure.
contagious, and
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you, everyone, for having me. And I'm excited for the next one. Do you know
yeah.
who you're interviewing?
Uh,
Let's
should I say
promo.
it? I'll
I don't know.
if I'm not mistaken, the next one or the one in 2 months, it's Jordan.
Oh, ooh, let's promo that, baby. Awesome. It's
Yeah.
gonna be so good.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So
All
thank
right,
you
guys,
again for
rock
your
your week.
time. Much,
Thank
much love.
you.
See you
Shine bright,
soon.
peoples.
Yeah, thank you everybody for
Whatevers.
being here. Good
Okay.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.